Good morning, folks, and welcome to the Toon Review for the Breakfast Show. My name is Paul. Thank you very much for tuning in from this, what I have to say is an absolute sweatbox of a studio this morning. I am literally melting. It is going to be a blinding warm day today, guys, so stay hydrated. But everything I'm drinking is coming right back out in sweat. It's unbelievable. But good morning, and it seems like Newcastle United are about to make another signing, guys. It seems like Newcastle seem to like to do the business between 9 p.m. and midnight on a weekday now, because, of course, as soon as we go off air, it's like suddenly it's bang, there, new signing. Of course, Newcastle United last night confirmed the signing of Malick Thiaw, various videos and interviews with him. I think Thiaw could end up being a fantastic signing as well. Listen, what we have to take into consideration is what Eddie Howe does with these players, how good he is nurturing these players, etc. We know he's so good at doing it. We know he's got a habit of bringing players on to an elite level. And I'm sure he's been after Thiaw for, apparently 3 windows or 3 years, whatever it is. He's been after him an awful long time, and this for me is a brilliant signing, which could end up being Malik Thiaw and Sven Botman as our centre-backs for a few years to come, providing, obviously, everybody stays fit. I've seen quite a bit of Thiaw, and you know what? He didn't have the greatest season last year, but this happens to all players. You know, they do struggle a little bit. Maybe what Thiaw needed was now at the stage in his career, he needs a change. He needs something to refocus on. And coming to Newcastle is a brilliant move for him. And you know what's really nice, what is really nice is the fact that these players now that are linked, and we'll come on to Ramsey in a minute, but they want to be at Newcastle. You know, Malik Thiaw has made it quite obvious that Newcastle United was his choice. And it's so nice to hear players saying that after the rigmarole of what we've had in the summer, with players not wanting to come to Newcastle United for whatever reason, or Newcastle United just weren't interested in them in the first place, which I think for the majority of these players that have gone elsewhere, that is the case. I think there's 3 or 4 that did turn us down. But a lot of others were just media interest in the player, no actual bids coming in or anything like that. And it is what it is. But I think Thiaw is a great signing. Let me know what you think in the comments. Of course, don't forget to give it a like if you enjoyed this morning's show. If you are new, please do subscribe, completely free of charge. All that we ask is that you hit that notification bell so you never want to miss an upload or a live show. You can, of course, donate to the channel via Super Chat. That's the $ at the bottom of the live comments, which will guarantee your comment to be read out. That's just a way of saying thank you for donating to the channel. Well, Mango Warrior has done that immediately this morning. Thank you, mate. Deal apparently closed for Ramsey. Thoughts on him, hoping for a few more quick transfers this week. And also, good morning, buddy. Thank you very much, mate. And good morning to you. So Jacob Ramsey is the next one coming through the door by the looks of things. A lot of the media state this morning that Newcastle United look like they're going to get this tied up quite quickly. £40 million is being mooted around as the transfer fee. Now, look, there's some Newcastle fans on social media, etc., who don't seem very happy with this deal. And I have to question that. I really do. We've seen Jacob Ramsey a lot, and he's a bloody good player. And listen, we need midfielders in the door, and we need them better than the standard of what's gone out, which is, of course, Sean Longstaff. Willock is injured, but hasn't really set the world on fire. Certainly not last season. He's been bang out of form. And we need somebody coming in who's going to be a workhorse, who's going to be a very talented player with the ball. And Jacob Ramsey, for me, is very, very much an Eddie Howe footballer. He works hard. He's a talent. He's a real talent. And Eddie Howe is, again, the perfect man to bring this guy on. And we need a midfielder in. Now, look, everybody's panicking here and going, well, we need a striker. Where's the striker? Where's the striker? That will happen. I'm under no illusion about that Newcastle United are working very hard to bring a striker in. But the situation is, at the moment, you know, it's a domino effect with Visser. We can't... Brentford won't let Visser go until they've got a replacement. And I perfectly understand that from Brentford's point of view. Visser is at the moment contracted to Brentford, and it stays that way until further developments happen down the road by Brentford looking for a striker to replace Visser. Because Brentford, from their point of view, they don't want to lose Mbeumo and Visser without any, replacements coming in the door. That would be criminal to them and really risk their Premier League status at the end of the day if they're losing two really talented players like that who get most of the goals. So I can understand Brentford wanting to hang on a little bit longer. Yes, time is running out, but I do think deals will get done as we move closer, certainly the season kicking off at the weekend and, of course, the transfer window closing at the end of August. I think there's a lot of things still to be done in this window. But it's very, very positive now from Newcastle's point of view. A little bit of a lot of negativity, actually, not a little bit, but a lot of negativity in this transfer window with regards to some players. But now it seems like we're starting to roll a little bit. We're starting to identify some players who can take us to the next level a little bit. And certainly Malick Thiaw coming in, and now Jacob Ramsey. Hopefully that happens. And then we turn our attention to a striker or two. I think we definitely need two strikers in the door. Now, whether we bring anybody in on loan or something like that, we don't seem to do much in the loan market, do we? Which is very strange. I'm not sure what's going on with regards to loans, but nobody seems bothered at Newcastle United about bringing players in on loan, apart from obviously Aaron Ramsdale. But that's the goalkeeper situation. Outfield players, very much a different story. I think Eddie is of the mindset that he wants players in here who are committed to Newcastle. And when you bring a loan player in, it's sometimes very difficult to understand where the commitment lies, isn't it? Who are they playing for? They're playing for the club, or are they playing to prove to the parent club that they should be staying there, etc. And I understand that loans can be a bit of a dicey deal at times, but I'm quite positive this morning. I have to say I'm very positive with what I've read from the media sources this morning. Jacob Ramsey looks to be a real good player. And I've also seen links to Jean-Philippe Mateta this morning at Crystal Palace. Now, I don't know if Newcastle United are fully interested in him. These have been more so overseas media reporting this. But there is another player who was really improved during his time at Villa and during his time at Palace and in the Premier League. He has improved to a degree where he's a talent. He's a really good player as well. So Newcastle are clearly putting the feelers out, wondering who they can bring in. I don't think Mateta would be cheap, but I tell you what, I think he'd be a hell of a signing for us, an absolute hell of a signing. If we can get Thiaw, Ramsey, and then Visser and Anna Mateta, well, I tell you what, that would complete the transfer window for me. I think every Newcastle fan, given what we've been through in this window, would be bloody pleased with that. But the problem is, of course, dealing with Palace again. And they're certainly not going to want Mateta to go, given that he really gets the goals for Palace. Palace are possibly going to lose Eze. They've got a few others who are linked with other clubs as well. It could all fall apart for Crystal Palace within a few days. And that would be a tremendous blow to them. But at the same time, we have to look forward. We have to build our team. And I think if Mateta wanted to go, I could see that deal happening. I could. But at the moment, that's just links from overseas. There's nothing serious about any. Certainly, I haven't seen any Northeast journalists reporting that or anything like that. But Mateta's slightly older, obviously. But, as we've been saying many, many times on the live shows, now is the time to go and get players. We can't really take age. If Mateta came in for a couple of years, did a fantastic job, then that's job done for me. We have to start looking at it that way rather than just saying, yeah, he's too old. At the moment now, with the window closing so soon, we need players in the door and players who are ready to go. We can't afford to bring players in who aren't ready, who will take 5, 6, 7 weeks to get going. We need them in now and players that are ready to go. As for Thiaw, I don't think Thiaw will start on Saturday. I think it'll be Fabian Schär, to be quite honest with you. I can see Thiaw being on the bench without a shadow of a doubt. But for me, the fact that he hasn't had Premier League experience, Eddie will probably want to just, slowly blend him in like he's done with his previous signings. Whether he's got time to do that is a different kettle of fish, because that all depends on the form of Fabian Schär. If we see Schär making mistakes and things like that, then I think he'll be pushed in rather quickly. Another super chat in from Dave Bannon. Thank you, Dave. If it was up to me, I would bid £50 million for Mark Gay just to piss Liverpool off. Even if we have no interest in signing him, love a bit of shithousery. Loving the morning show. Thank you, Dave. I mean, look, it's about time that we played a bit of shithousery, given all that's been done to us, isn't it? So I wouldn't mind seeing a bit of shithousery without a shadow of a doubt. Ollie says Evan Ferguson tearing it up at Roma. We should have took him. I think, you know what, Ollie? He's a very good player, Evan Ferguson. There's no doubt about that. However, he has had a few real injury problems lately, and for me, that would be another risk. But you're right. I mean, sometimes it's about time that we started taking a few risks, and he was certainly one that maybe we could have got. I don't know. Rowan is sending a super chat. Thanks, mate. Paul, do you think the uplift in spending may signal that we've reached a quiet agreement behind the scenes to offload the one who shall not be named? I don't know, Rowan. I don't know. Quite frankly, I am sticking well away from that now. I don't think he deserves any more of our airtime. I think we need to look forward now as a football club, look positive. If anything happens with that, then it happens. I'm sure Eddie is concentrating on Saturday's game. He's concentrating on getting players through the door who actually want to be at our football club. And I think that's the most important thing of the whole lot here, is players who want to be here. Super chat from Tyneside updates. Thank you very much, matey. Who are your ideal two strikers to bring in? Well, definitely Visser. I think Visser would be a fantastic signing. I think he's Premier League ready. He's 100% ready to go. He knows how this league works. He's physical. He's strong. And, you know, we need that up front. We need the physicality. We need the strength to deal with, you know, the Premier League centre-backs. It's a very tough job when you're up there for Newcastle United. But Visser certainly could do the job. Mateta, I think, I don't know. I think Mateta would be a good signing, actually. You know, when you think about it, he's big, he's strong as well. I think we'd have a very, very good front line if we got Mateta and Visser in. But there's a few more out there. There's Samu still being linked, of course. You never know what's going to happen in these next coming weeks or days, out for that matter. Newcastle seem to be really working to get players in the door quite quickly now. The Ramsey one is looking like that's developed very, very quickly. An agreement with Villa pretty much made, and you know, the player himself saying that he wants Newcastle. So I think that one gets done quite quickly, which makes a change for us in the transfer market, doesn't it? But things are moving forward. And you have to be positive now, because we've had so much negativity this summer. We can't do anything but be positive when we see players saying, yes, I want to come to Newcastle. Yes, I'm interested. I want to do it. And let's get it done. And to be honest, there is a few more strikers out there. There's no doubt about that who would do a job for Newcastle United. We're not going to be able to replace world class. It's very, very difficult to do that. But what we can do is bring players in and make them better players. And that has happened over the years since Eddie Howe's been at this football club. He brings players in and they become even better players. And if we can do that with the likes of Thiaw and Jacob Ramsey, I think it's going to be fantastic. Ollie, I've seen a lot of Newcastle fans talking about Mitrovic. To be honest, that's not going to happen, buddy, if we're openly honest. Mitrovic, for me, his time has been and gone for Newcastle. Certainly a £40 million price tag being banded around. I don't think they're going to let him go on loan. But you know what it is? I'm never saying never, because you just never know what happens in Newcastle United. You know, as I say, we do the evening show, and then you get up next morning and suddenly more stories are developing left, right and centre overnight, which has seemed to be when we like to get deals done and agreed. Damien says, I don't want to hear any of our fans bantering Villa as a small club once we sign Ramsey. This mentality from the so-called Big Six has been embarrassing. 100%, Damien. 100%. Look, we are very, very much in the similar boat to Aston Villa, with sides trying to break into this cartel. You know, the likes of us and Villa and a few other clubs like that. We are, at the moment, knocking on the door to try and get in there. However, we all know why we can't. And, you know, this is just a football transfer. There's no need to banter fans about it. You know, there's some Villa fans I've seen online this morning quite upset that he's potentially leaving the football club. Fair enough. Now, a lot of people are talking about Ramsey and injuries, right? Stop putting a downer on it. You know, Ramsey's still very young. He's picked up a few knocks over the time he's been playing for Villa. Fair enough. But this is a positive signing. You know, he's still young. He's hungry. He wants to win things. He wants to play for Newcastle United. Let us just look positive. Morning, Rich. Hope you're well. Lucas says, take good care of Ramsey. He's a good player, but injuries let him down with us, and 40 million for us is a good deal. Yeah, absolutely. And I think it suits both clubs. And obviously Ramsey's had a few injuries, but look, I'm not going to call him a sick note, because I think that's bang out of order, to be honest, calling him a sick note. He's not a sick note. What he is a very talented player who has aspirations to reach the very top, playing for England, winning things, and saying that he wants to play for Newcastle United. We can nurture him into that player. He's still young enough to get over his injuries. I think, he's now starting to fill out. He's developing as a footballer, and I don't see any reason to call him a sick note. I really find that a bit insulting to him, to be honest. Let's just get him in the door. Is he better than Willock? Is he better than Longstaff? I'd say 100% he is. People might not agree with that, but I've seen enough of Jacob Ramsey to make my own mind up on him, and I think he's an excellent player. And, injuries, it's a risk, absolutely. But are we at the stage now in the transfer window where we have to take risks and we have to say, right, I'm sure Newcastle will do the due diligence on him, and certainly through his medical, etc. So let's just wait and see what happens. Well, people writing him off as a sick note before he's even joined. What do you guys want? What do you really want? Everybody's complaining we're not signing players, we're not doing this, we're not doing that. Then we have players who actually want to come and want to sign for the football club, and fans still not happy. I don't understand it. Is Jacob Ramsey the elite signing that everybody was hoping for this summer? No. But is he good enough to improve the squad and the squad depth? 100% he is. 100%. So give him an opportunity, guys, for God's sake. Don't write him off. Newcastle wouldn't pay £40 million for a player they thought was going to be injured a lot. It's as simple as that. But he is a big upgrade on what we've lost. No doubt in my mind that he's better than Longstaff, and certainly the way Willock's been playing over the seasons, much better. So, yeah. I find it staggering that people want to write players off who want to sign for us, who've already really done really well for where they've been. And he's had a few injuries. He's over them now. So let's try and give him a bit of a boost and get him into the football club and actually enjoy him playing for Newcastle. Rich says, Ramsey for 40 million. Willock was 30 and he's a huge step up. Regards sick note, any player has a potential injury-affected career. Yeah. I mean, God, look at Alan Shearer when he played for us. Look how many injuries he had. Come on. DLH says, Ramsey will do well for us. As for injuries, there is nothing saying someone with no injury record could come in and be out for half the season with an injury. I don't understand it, especially with all the negativity that's been going around our club now all summer. And then we finally make moves for very good players and people are still complaining. I'm astounded by it, me. Honestly, astounded. Dave says, do you think we will get any loan players? No, I don't. I don't think Eddie Howe is keen on loan players. Goalkeeper aside, I think, Aaron Ramsdale has an opportunity to sign for Newcastle United next summer. And I think he'd be doing his utmost to prove to Eddie Howe that he's worth that signing. Absolutely. But when you're talking about outfield players, I think Eddie Howe isn't sure about loans, because we all know, and I've said this earlier in the show, we all know Eddie wants players that are committed to the football club. And with loan players, you sometimes don't get that, guys. You sometimes just left scratching your head saying, where is the commitment here? But I don't think so. I think Eddie wants permanent players through the door that he can work with, and doesn't think, well, I'm going to work with you and I'm going to make you a better player just to go back to your parent club. I don't think that's what Eddie Howe's all about, to be honest. Samu says Douglas Luiz or Conor Gallagher as a second midfield signing. Douglas Luiz has been banded around a lot this summer, but there doesn't seem to be any interest from Newcastle United. I've never seen any links to him directly. So I don't think Douglas Luiz is on our list. Conor Gallagher has been linked many times since the transfer window opened. So I don't know. I think if anything was going to happen with Conor Gallagher, that probably would have been done at the weekend when he was actually over here with Madrid. But I don't actually foresee that happening now. Fubar, member for 2 years. Thank you, mate. Thank you for your support. Morning, everyone. Ramsey missed 10 games last season, but 9 of those was just one injury. Plus, he will be a rotation player. Great signing. Brilliant comment, Fubar. Brilliant. He had one injury for 9 games. It says it all, guys. Let's just be excited about this signing. I don't get it. John Cook with a super chat. Any player can get injured. It is called a physical sport. Ramsey is a great addition, so let's get behind him and the team. Ramsey could make a very, 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 very big difference to our side. To give Eddie Howe options in midfield takes a lot of stress away from the manager, because at the moment he'd be looking at the midfield thinking, wow, and we've said this as well, we're an injury or suspension away from a real problem here, and we have to make sure that does not happen. So for Eddie to bring a midfielder in the door, we may go and get another one, but then he's got Miley, he's got Ramsey there, and he's got obviously the 3 main guys in Joe Linton, Sandro Tonali, and Bruno, of course. So I'm quite pleased. Luca, who is a Villa fan, said he hasn't signed a contract we have put on the table for the last 6 months. So with him having 2 years left, so us selling him before he has 1 year left, good deal for both parties. Absolutely, Luca. I said that earlier. I think it's a very good deal for Villa. It's clear maybe that Ramsey wants to try somewhere else and pastures new, so to speak, and that's fine. But players have ways and means of going about it. I haven't seen Jacob Ramsey kick up a fuss like a certain snake that we have, or go on strike or anything like that. He's just got on with it. And then an offer's coming in. He says, yeah, I'd like to go to Newcastle. I think that's the best way to do it. But you know what? Villa need the money in as well. And as you say, they don't want to lose him on the cheap, because 1 year left in his contract. He will not get as much as they will now. So Villa are doing the right thing by saying, right, well, obviously we put a contract down. He hasn't signed it, so let's sell. Let's make a bit of money and a good deal for both parties. There's no nastiness. There's no nothing in that. He just wants to try something else. And Luca, yeah, he's a Villa fan, but at the same time, he's thinking his career as well. So he's going about it the right way, and you have to applaud that, to be honest. And Villa can use that money. Obviously, they made some big signings last season, didn't they, before their Champions League go? But it was the same as us, exactly the same as us. Having to sell some good players as well because of FFP and because of the cartel spoiling it for everybody else. And it's sad, really, because Newcastle and Villa are knocking on the door. But they can't break that door down, because every time they do and it comes off its hinges, the Premier League step in and say, whoa, let's just slam that door shut. Let's reinforce it and make sure that our little puppy dogs at the top of the league are not going to get disturbed by Newcastle, Villa, etc. Now, the El Canoes situation as well, guys. Obviously, he was linked with us a couple of days ago. Crystal Palace have also shown an interest in El Canoes. I'm not sure where that goes now with us going for Jacob Ramsey. Obviously, £40 million for Jacob Ramsey. That may end up being the midfielder that comes in, and El Canoes sort of drifts away into the sunset, and maybe he goes to Palace or somewhere else. I think getting them both in would be fantastic, but I think the money that you're going to have to spend on 2 midfielders, Newcastle United are very much looking for strikers after Ramsey comes in. So, yeah, it would be nice. It would be really nice, but I don't know. El Canoes is a great player, by the way. We looked at him the other night. Stato went through his stats with, went a deep dive in on him, and he looks a really, really good player. But I think Jacob Ramsey is more of an Eddie Howe type of player. So we've got to take that and look forward to that. Mike says, is the whole Premier League not a cartel? Just ask teams coming up from the Championship who all go straight back down. I think it's very difficult for teams coming up. I think it's extremely difficult for teams coming up, and we've seen that. That's why I generally think that the money situation, the FFP, all those kind of rules, there needs to be rules in place. Absolutely. I'm not saying that Newcastle United should be able to go and spend billions every transfer window. There do have to be restrictions in place, but restrictions that are fair to everybody. And certainly if you're coming up into the Premier League, if you don't have a bit of money to throw at it, then it's a little bit of a problem. Luca says, we want to bring Marco Asensio back, so selling Ramsey might allow us to do that. Yeah, great signing he was for Villa. I think, we looked at him a couple of years ago thinking he was briefly linked with Newcastle a couple of seasons ago. And I think he's a fantastic player. And I think Asensio would go back to Villa. He seemed to have a great time there. Simon says it's a fair point. The Premier League is almost a closed shop. Yeah, look, teams that come up are absolutely delighted. You see when they get promoted or you see them in the playoffs, it's a wonderful, wonderful occasion for them. And sometimes you get a team coming up that you just did not expect to get into the Premier League. The likes of Luton Town, for instance, a wonderful, wonderful season for their fans. But the problem is, if you go back down from the Premier League, like we've seen with Luton, it's very, very difficult. You lose that momentum and you get, a double relegation, and it's horrible. It's absolutely horrible. But I don't see nothing changing in the short term, guys, with regards to that. I really don't. I think you may as well forget that. Eze's release clause is expiring in 2 days. I think we'll see a couple of bids for Eze in the next 48 hours. I really do. And, Arsenal have certainly been sniffing around it. Yeah. Callan says, I'm sick to death of hearing about the Isak situation now, and I support Liverpool. Yeah, I think everybody is. And that's why, I haven't gone into anything about him on this show this morning, because I think we've done it to death. He's made his bed. Now he lies in it. We'll see what happens with it. Will says, still reckon Visa and Samu. Visa for experience and proven Premiership goals, and Samu as that upcoming elite magic spark. Well, Samu would certainly give you that. He's a very sparky kind of player. But are Newcastle United going to take a risk and pay that much money for him? I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure. But the way it's going now, I think Newcastle United have simply decided, right, enough's enough. Enough of this bullshit. We are going in now. We're going to bring some players in, and we're going to look forward to having a great season. I think, Newcastle as a club will think, the fans need a boost. The squad needs a boost. Let's all have a boost and do what we can to have a brilliant season. And I think Newcastle United, with these, certainly Thiaw and Ramsey coming in, I think it's made a little bit more positive, certainly over the last 24 hours at Newcastle United, given what we've been through. Rowan Melville is a new member of the channel. Thank you very much, Rowan. Welcome to the members club. Samu has been rumoured to say he wants to stay for at least another year. Well, if he does, that's fair enough on Samu. That is absolutely fair enough. And if he doesn't want to move, that's, of course, his decision. What I do think is, though, if an offer came in for Samu, which meets his release clause, I think, Porto as a club would have to take that money. It's too much to turn down. Because if Samu wants to stay for another season and then he gets injured, it falls apart. They don't get that massive money for him. Samu, way too expensive for me on the basis of one good season in an average league. That is the sort of other side of the coin, other side of the coin when it comes to Samu, isn't it? You've got to think, right, great season, great goals, but it's one season. And I think that's what's probably worrying Newcastle United when they look at his release clause and look at how much they'll have to pay. Is it worth it? Is it worth the risk for that much? I'm not so sure that Newcastle United go down that avenue. However, Hello, guys. There was a power cut. I do apologise. The whole street went into absolute bollocks. So I do apologise for that. I've been running next door and banging on neighbours. Has there been a power cut? But there you go. That's the whole craziness of a live show, guys. You just never know what is going to happen on these lives. You don't. But listen. I'm going to end it there anyway because, quite frankly, I went through everything I needed to go through. But that's it for now. Listen, keep your notifications on, guys, because things are rolling with Newcastle United pretty quick, and hopefully everything will be sorted out with the electrics around my street. I know they're working on the bloody broadband as well, so I don't know whether somebody's cut into a wire or a pipe they shouldn't have, but something clearly affected it there. But there you go. We got one more super chat coming, actually, from Robert. Paul, once the deadline's passed, how about you and Chris from Evermore get together for rant analysing what's gone wrong since we won the cup? Well, we might not have to. We might not have to have a rant because it might be just a glorious time for all Newcastle United fans with some signings before the window closes. But that's it for now. Thank you for your super chats and your membership, guys. Really do appreciate that. Keep your notifications on, as I say, because we may go live and another video later on or whatever. But we are back tonight at 7 o'clock with a fan forum. So if you guys want to come on, join us live on the show and let us know how you're feeling ahead of the new season. We will do a fan forum tonight. I'm really interested to know how you guys are feeling ahead of the kickoff on Saturday. So please get yourself on. You don't need a camera. You just need a microphone. If you don't want to show your face, that's fine. But I'll put the link up in the live chat tonight. So we'll be back at 7. Don't forget to leave a like and, of course, subscribe if you are new. And again, apologies for the power cut, but what about to do? It's live TV at the end of the day. Anything can happen. But have a great day, folks, and we will see you later. Take care.
Come back and check on Sea Breeze.